Welcome to historic Hawthorne Racecourse, and this afternoon a couple of non-betting stakes races, and the three-year-old trotting fillies for the ISOBA stakes are in behind the gate, and here they come. Starting the action off immediately here at Hawthorne today, Sanders Ice Cube going for the lead. Along the inside, My Happy Dream is away in second. And then it is back to third, and that is Saluki Twist, and Swiss Silk is content to trail as they round the turn. Quartet of three-year-old trotting fillies making the turn to the backstretch, and that is Sanders Ice Cube up to control the pace. At the rail is My Happy Dream racing second, followed by Saluki Twist in third, and Swiss Silk is the trailer. And now Dale Heitman's not going to wait any longer with Swiss Silk. Guides Swiss Silk to the outside, and My Happy Dream is forced to go after the leader from second. And that is My Happy Dream trotting to the front. The first quarter was in a leisurely 34 seconds flat. Just strolled around the clubhouse turn and now onto the backstretch. They've picked up the pace a bit. It is My Happy Dream the leader, and Swiss Silk is trotting alongside to challenge. At the rail, that is Sanders Ice Cube racing in third, followed by Saluki Twist, who is the trailer. They are midway up the backstretch, going to the half-mile marker, and Dale Heitman has sent Swiss Silk to the front. Swiss Silk is leading the way with My Happy Dream racing second. Along the inside, Sanders Ice Cube is third, and Saluki Twist completes the field. They've raced the half in 106 and 2, and now they move to the far turn, and Swiss Silk continues to lead the way. Swiss Silk on top by a length and a half, and racing second at the rail is My Happy Dream. And then it is back to Sanders Ice Cube in third, and Saluki Twist trails the field. They're making the turn to the top of the home stretch, and Swiss Silk is in charge. Swiss Silk has backed the pace down in the third quarter as they come for the top of the home stretch. It's Swiss Silk turning for home with the lead. Now Sanders Ice Cube wheels to the outside, and they've raced 3/4 of a mile in 1:40 and 2. And now it's a 1/4 of a mile dash to the wire. Swiss Silk has the lead. Racing second is My Happy Dream. Sanders Ice Cube moved to the outside. And then as the pace quickens, Sanders Ice Cube finds herself in third. And then Saluki Twist trails the field. Down to the final 16th, and Swiss Silk has the lead. My Happy Dream, under heavy urging, is inching closer. Coming down to the line, and Swiss Silk holds off the late rush of My Happy Dream. Saluki Twist trailed throughout and got up in time to take third, just in front of Sanders Ice Cube. All in behind the starting gate. Never Fish again has gone off stride before the start. And they're off. Trotting for the early lead is Never Saw Dust along the inside. Ditto Head is dropping over to the rail, racing away in second. Hasty Owl takes the turn in third. And then up on the extreme outside, moving into the first four, is Fox Valley Rags. Down at the rail is Home Pro Montana racing in fifth, and then it is back to King Cooper in sixth, followed by Never Fish Again racing in seventh, and Beau Rue Jade's Bell trails the field. They round the turn, straighten up onto the backstretch, and leading the way is Never Saw Dust, on top by a length and a half. At the rail, Ditto Head is racing second. There goes Fox Valley Rags to the outside to challenge from third. The opening 1/4 of a mile was clocked in 31 and 4, and as they head up the backstretch, Fox Valley Rags up on the outside takes the lead. Never Saw Dust trotting in second, followed by Ditto Head in third. Hasty Owl completes the first four, followed by Home Pro Montana racing in fifth. Never Fish Again is sixth, and then it's Beau Rue Jade's Bell racing seventh, and King Cooper trails the field. The three-year-old trotters make their way up the backstretch, and to the front, Fox Valley Rags leads by the half-mile marker in 1:02 flat. And now they move on to the far turn, and Fox Valley Rags has the lead. Never Saw Dust down at the rail is racing second. Ditto Head along the inside third. Hasty Owl drives to the outside, now racing in fourth. And then Never Fish Again is a distant fifth, and even further back is Beau Rue's Jade's Bell, followed by King Cooper, and way back, Home Pro Montana has made a break. They round the turn, coming for the top of the home stretch, and it is Fox Valley Rags leading the way. The 3/4 time, 1:32 and 1. Into the home stretch, and Fox Valley Rags has the lead. Never Saw Dust trotting in second. Never Saw Dust has gone off stride. Also going off stride was Hasty Owl. They come down to the line, and Fox Valley Rags is in front and drawing clear. It's Fox Valley Rags by more than 20 lengths, and then trotting into second is a Never Fish Again. again. Up on the outside, coming on is Ditto Head to take third, but Fox Valley Rags is all alone. The first race pacers are all in behind the starting gate, and here they come. And they're off. Driving for the lead is Park Lane Flair from in between horses. Up on the outside, that is a Love Lady, and towards the inside is Springwater Sandra. They race around the clubhouse turn, and Park Lane Flair up to grab the lead. Springwater Sandra down at the rail is away in second. Love Lady is on the outside in third, and then Power Pockets along the inside racing in fourth, followed by Crazy Reaction, the top five. Carrie Marie pacing around the turn in sixth, followed by Royal Storm in seventh, and Fox Valley Biz is eighth. Silly Face is ninth and last. They make the turn onto the backstretch, and Park Lane Flair has the lead, 3/4 of a length. Love Lady on the outside second. A hole's opening up along the inside for Love Lady. Springwater Sandra is third. There's a break back to Power Pocket in fourth. Another gap back to Crazy Reaction racing in fifth. Carrie Marie is sixth. Moving up is Fox Valley Biz into the top seven. Silly Face is past one. Royal Storm is uninterested in the early going and has dropped out last. They race the opening quarter in 29 and 2, and as they go to the half-mile marker, up to take the lead is Love Lady. Love Lady on top. Park Lane Flair racing second. Springwater Sandra is third. Crazy Reaction moving up on the outside of Power Pack at the top five. Carrie Marie is racing in sixth. Fox Valley Biz is seventh. Silly Face is racing in eighth, and Royal Storm is ninth and last. Halftime was 57 and 4, and now midway around the far turn, Love Lady is the leader. Along the inside, Park Lane Flair second. Springwater Sandra drives up on the outside, races in third. At the rail, Power Pocket is fourth. 3 wide, Carrie Marie is in a hurry. Carrie Marie moves quickly into the first four, and now they're homeward bound. Leading the way, Love Lady. Park Lane Flair second, 3/4 and 1, 28 and 1. Carrie Marie charging down the center of the racetrack to challenge. Coming to the final eighth of a mile, and Carrie Marie has grabbed the lead. Love Lady second. Park Lane Flair through on the inside third. Springwater Sandra fourth. They race down to the final 16th, and it's Carrie Marie drawing away. Carrie Marie is home free. This race is for place. Springwater Sandra on the outside. Love Lady in between. Park Lane Flair on the inside. It's Carrie Marie in front. Love Lady takes the second spot. The second race pacers are all in behind the starting gate, and here they come. And they're off. Acts like a filly, trying for the lead from the outside. From the inside is Kellis Finale. Broadway Governors down at the rail, and up on the extreme outside, that is Hal Cam going for the lead. They race around the turn, and Acts Like a Filly up to grab the early lead. Broadway Governess racing in second. Kellis Finale is parked out in third. Down at the rail, Audaciously is away in fourth, and then it's back to Bibbidi Bobbidi Boo in fourth. And along the inside is Shady Society racing in fifth, followed by Hal Cam racing in sixth. Ms. Fussy Smith is in seventh, and Lakes Hills Alexis is the trailer. They race around the turn, going to the backstretch, the opening quarter of a mile in 29 and 2. And leading the way up the backstretch is Kellis Finale on top by a length. Acts Like a Filly racing racing in second. Broadway Governess is tugging hard on the bit, racing in third. Audaciously completes the first 4. And then it's back to Bibbidi Bobbidi Boo, who drives to the outside, now racing into the first 5. And then gaining ground is Shady Society, now racing in 6th. Up on the outside is Ms. Fussy Smith in 7th, followed by Hal Cam racing in 8th. End of the trailer is Lakes Hills Alexis. They race by the half in 59-1, and now they move to the far turn. And leading the way around the turn, that is Kellis Finale. Bibbidi Bobbidi Boo moves up on the outside to challenge in second. Along the inside, Acts Like a Phileas third. Up on the outside, Shady Society completes the first 4, followed by Broadway Governess in 5th. Up on the outside, Ms. Fussy Smith is in 6th, and then it is back to Lake Hills Alexis moving up in 7th, followed by Audaciously Racing in 8th, and guided to the outside, Hal Cam is coming on 3 wide from last. They race by the 3/4 in 1:29-4, and as they race through the home stretch, Kellis Finale has the lead. Bibbidi Bobbidi Boo races in second. Along the inside, Acts Like a Filly is full of pace, no racing room, and on the outside, gaining ground, Shady Society. Hal Cam center of the track. They race into the final 16th, and it is Shady Society to the front. Hal Cam improving on the extreme outside. Shady Society is in front. Hal Cam takes second. Ms. Fussy Smith was third. Here they come. And they're off. And Tiburon Matthew drives right to the lead. JC Broadway is out of the gate second with KB Command taking the rail in third. And then it is Silky Soul who is racing in fourth. Little Bobby G completes the first 5. And then One More Brewski is away in 6th, followed by Blight Cowboy racing in 7th, and Jiminy Nuka trails the field. They round the turn to the back stretch, and Tiburon Matthew leads the way. JC Broadway racing second. KEB Command completes the top 3. And they race on to the back stretch, and the opening quarter of a mile was clocked in 30 3/5. On to the backstretch, and Tiburon Matthew is leading the way with JC Broadway racing second, KB Command is third, Silky Soul the first 4, Little Bobby G racing 5th, One More Brewski is 6th, Beloit Cowboy 7th, Jiminy Nuka trails the field. They're racing midway up the backstretch, and still with the lead is Tiburon Matthew. There's been little movement as they race to the half-mile pole. JC Broadway is racing second, and now Silky Soul drives up on the outside of KB Command the first 4. At the rail, Little Bobby G is racing in 5th, One More Brewski is 6th. Down at the rail, racing in 7th is Jiminy Nuka, and Beloit Cowboy trails the field. They race onto the far turn. The half was in 1:01-4, and leading the way is Tiburon Matthew on top by a length. Along the inside, JC Broadway races second, KB Command the top 3. Up on the outside, it's a Little Bobby G. Down at the rail, that is back to Silky Soul. They race around the turn, coming for the top of the home stretch, and as they turn for home, Tiburon Matthew has the lead. They race the 3/4 in 1:32-1. Tiburon Matthew leads into the home stretch. Up on the outside, Little Bobby G moves into second. Along the inside, JC Broadway is third. Up the rail comes Jiminy Nuka in 4th. On the outside, Beloit Cowboy 5th. Through the final 1/8 of a mile, and Tiburon Matthew has the lead. JC Broadway is next. Jiminy Nuka moves into 3rd, but as they go to the line, it's Tiburon Matthew all alone. Tiburon Matthew in front. Close for second, JC Broadway and Jiminy Nuka. Here they come. And they're off. Diana Hill going for the lead. WYSIWYG is in between horses, and down at the rail, that is Anitra racing away in third. LD's LC hard held at the rail in fourth. Quick Mischief racing around the turn in fifth. Sam Shoe 2, Bluffview Bunny, and Stand By Your Bluegrass is at the back. The field in post position order as they round the clubhouse turn to the backstretch. Diana Hill leads the way. WYSIWYG is right there in second. There's a length gap back to Anitra in third, with LD's LC racing in fourth. Quick Mischief completes the top five. Sam Shoe 2 is racing in sixth. Bluffview Bunny is seventh, and Stand By Your Bluegrass trails the field. No movement yet as they race the opening quarter in 29 and 4. They're on to the backstretch, and it's still Diana Hill leading the way. WYSIWYG is racing in second. From out of the back, the first to move is Bluffview Bunny. They race midway up the backstretch, and Diana Hill still with the lead. WYSIWYG racing second. Anitra now steps to the outside in third, followed by LD's LC racing fourth. Quick Mischief is moving up on the outside, now racing in fifth, with Bluffview Bunny racing sixth. Sam Shoe 2 is racing in seventh, and Stand By Your Bluegrass is eighth and last. 4 in, 4 out. They leave the half in 59 and 2, and now move to the far turn, and Diana Hill has the lead, on top by a length. Up on the outside racing into second is Anitra. Down at the rail is WYSIWYG in third. Quick Mischief is on the outside of LD's LC the first five, and then it is back to Bluffview Bunny racing sixth. Sam Shoe 2 is seventh, and Stand By Your Bluegrass is eighth and last. There's a quarter of a mile still to race, and as they make the turn for home, Diana Hill's the one to catch, has led through three quarters in 1:29 and 1. Coming down to the final eighth of a mile, Diana Hill on the inside, on the outside Anitra, and Anitra takes a short lead. Quick Mischief closing in on the extreme outside. Here comes Quick Mischief to challenge for and take the lead. Quick Mischief to the front. Diana Hill still game racing second. Anitra third. Outside Bluffview Bunny's coming home fast. It's Quick Mischief in front. Quick Mischief wins by a little more than a length. A photo for place between Diana Hill and Bluffview Bunny. Fifth race pacers are all in behind the starting gate. And here they come. And they're off. Fatal Kisses driving away from the gate in search of a forward position. Down at the rail is Seeking the Gold, and along the inside, Babe in Toyland takes the turn in third. They round the clubhouse turn, and that is Seeking the Gold leading the way. Fatal Kisses up on the outside. Babe in Toyland is hard held, racing in third, trying to open up a hole at the rail for Fatal Kisses. On the outside, Skipper's Luck is moving up to challenge from fourth. And then it's back to TV Gossip racing in fifth, followed by Heart Pills racing away in sixth. Carolina Courtney is in seventh. Starfleet's Annie is racing in eighth, and Nearby trails the field. They're off the turn onto the backstretch. The opening quarter in 29 and 4. Seeking the Gold has the lead. Skipper's Luck on the outside is moving alongside a challenge. Fatal Kisses down at the rail is in third, and then it's back to Babe in Toyland in fourth, followed by TV Gossip completing the top five. Heart Pills racing in sixth. Carolina Courtney is in seventh, and then Nearby moving up on the outside of Starfleet's Annie, the two trailers. The field pretty well strung out as they go to the half-mile marker. That is Skipper's Luck leading the way, but Seeking the Gold really making her work to get to the top. Halftime was 58 and 1, and now they start around the far turn. And Skipper's Luck makes the lead and crosses over to the rail. Seeking the Gold relegated to second. Along the inside, that is Fatal Kisses in third. There's a gap back to TV Gossip racing fourth. Babe in Toyland completes the top five. Carolina Courtney's moving up in sixth. Heart Pills racing in seventh. Starfleet's Annie is eighth, and Nearby is the trailer. They round the turn coming for the top of the home stretch, and Skipper's Luck turns for home with the lead. On the outside, Seeking the Gold is second. 3/4 of a mile in 1:28 and 3. Pacing through the home stretch, and Skipper's Luck leads the way. Fatal Kisses moves into second. Seeking the Gold tossed in the towel. Down the center of the track, Carolina Courtney, and along the inside, Babe in Toyland. It's Skipper's Luck leading the way. Fatal Kisses has asked for everything she has. On the outside, it is a Skipper's Luck holding onto the lead. Skipper's Luck wins by more than a length. Fatal Kisses was second. A long gap back to Babe in Toyland checking in third. 6 race pacers all in behind the starting gate. Here they come. And they're off, and Shannon Going By sprints away from the gate and goes for the lead. Silent Battle up on the outside. Down at the rail is Windstorm Todd away in third. Along the inside, LF Victory paces onto the turn, racing in fourth, just in front of Severe Storm, who takes the turn in fifth. Arctic Experience is out of the gate in sixth. Looking Tough is in seventh, and King Citation is content to trail the field as they round the turn, straighten up onto the back stretch. And leading the way is Shannon Going By, and now racing up on the outside, that is LF Victory to challenge for and grab the lead. LF Victory takes the lead as they race by the quarter in 30 and 4/5. And as they go up the backstretch, it's LF Victory leading the way. Shannon Going By is racing in second. Silent Battle is down at the rail racing in third. And then it's back to Windstorm Todd in fourth, followed by Severe Storm racing in fifth. Arctic Experience is in sixth. Looking Tough is seventh, and King Citation continues to trail the field. They're racing midway up the backstretch, and leading the way is LF Victory on top, 3/4 of a length. Up on the outside, that is Silent Battle, and Silent Battle is drawing even with LF Victory. They're on to the half in 1 minute and 2/5, and now they start around the far turn. Up on the outside, Silent Battle has taken a short lead. LF Victory down at the rail is racing in second, and then it is back to Shannon Going By in third. Windstorm Todd moves to the outside now fourth. There's a break of 4 lengths back to Severe Storm racing in fifth. Another gap back to Arctic Experience in sixth. King Citation moving up on the outside is seventh, and Looking Tough trails the field. They are rounding the turn, coming to the top of the home stretch, and that is Silent Battle on the outside. Along the inside, taking the lead is LF Victory. LF Victory draws clear of Silent Battle through 3/4 in 1:30 and 3. It's LF Victory in front. Shannon Going By second. Windstorm Todd is third. Silent Battle has dropped out of it. Races fourth. They're into the final 16th of a mile, and LF Victory has the lead. Shannon Going By coming on Windstorm Todd. Shannon Going By and Windstorm Todd both paced by the early leader, and Windstorm Todd gets up in time. Shannon Going By finishes second, and LF Victory was third. Here they come. And they're off, and Razzie Red drives for the early lead. Along the inside is Mr. Benny's. They race around the clubhouse turn, and Razzie Red up on the outside has taken the lead. Mr. Benny's racing in second. Up on the outside is a Motoring Mo into third. Down at the rail is Broadway Standout completing the first 4. Little Bird John's over to the rail racing in fifth, followed by Concert Ribbon in sixth, followed by Illini Jet in seventh, and then OG's Bull Yankee racing in eighth, and Diakos is ninth and last. They make the turn to the backstretch, and leading the way is Motoring Mo on top by 1.5 lengths. Razzie Red races second. Mr. Benny's is third. Down at the rail is Broadway Standout racing fourth. Little Bird John completes the top 5. And then it's Concrete Ribbon racing in sixth, followed by OG's Bull Yankee in seventh. The Illini Jet races eighth, and Diakos up on the outside trails the field. They race to the backstretch after an opening quarter in 29 and 4. And leading the way up on the outside, that is Little Bird John. And also on the move, OG's Bull Yankee. Little Bird John to the front, halftime 59 and 2. OG's Bull Yankee on the outside now takes the top. OG's Bull Yankee the leader. Along the inside, Little Bird John is racing second. Now Motoring Mo goes to the outside, goes after the lead again. Razzie Red is also moving up on the outside, racing in fourth. And then it is back to Illini Jet racing in fifth. Along the inside is Mr. Benny's racing in sixth. On the outside, gaining ground, that is Diakos in seventh. And then along the inside is Broadway Standout in eighth, and Concrete Ribbon trails the field. They're at the top of the home stretch, and leading the way is OG's Bull Yankee, 3/4 in 1, 28 and 4. And now racing by to reclaim the top, Razzie Red. Razzie Red to the front, Motoring Mo is next. Along the inside is a Little Bird John. To the outside, OG's Bull Yankee. It's Razzie Razzie Red drawing away. You can put a ring around Razzie Red, who is 4 to the good. Little Birdjohn second. Motoring Moe's trying to last for the show money with Mr. Benny's coming on, and Mr. Benny's snags the show spot. It is Razzie Red in front. Eighth race Pacers all in behind the gate. Here they come. And they're off. And that's Biz Hanover going for the early lead. Lady of Mystery up on the outside. Brooklet Skeeter on the extreme outside. Down at the rail, Awesome Viking. They race around the clubhouse turn, and Biz Hanover hands the lead. Up on the outside, Lady of Mystery, though, is pacing by. Lady of Mystery takes the lead from Biz Hanover. Awesome Viking at the rail is racing in third. Brooklet Skeeter is hard held. Homer Hochstetler wants that fourth spot at the rail, but Brooklet Skeeter is not cooperating. That's Catastrophe P racing in fifth. Ranton Raid is away in sixth. LB Lady is in seventh, and Otra Winfrey is eighth and last. They race up the backstretch and leading the way, Lady of Mystery, but a two-pronged challenge coming. That is Lady Biz Hanover pacing by to grab the lead. Brooklet Skeeter up on the outside. Biz Hanover to the front. Brooklet Skeeter on the outside second. Lady of Mystery down at the rail is third. Awesome Viking is fourth. There's a break in the action back to Catastrophe P racing in fifth. Ranton Raid the top six, followed by LB Lady in seventh, and trailing the field is Otra Winfrey. Opening quarter was in 28-3. Halftime a fast 56-4. Onto the far turn, and Brooklet Skeeter has made the top. Brooklet Skeeter leads the way. Biz Hanover racing second. Lady of Mystery third. Moving up on the outside is Ranton Raid now into the first four. Awesome Viking down at the rail is fifth. Catastrophe P is sixth. LB Lady is seventh. Otra Winfrey is the trailer. They round the turn coming for the top of the home stretch, and Brooklet Skeeter is on top. Lady of Mystery on the outside. Biz Hanover looking for a way out at the rail is third. Ranton Rage just behind the top trio in fourth. They straighten up into the home stretch, and Brooklet Skeeter has the lead. 3/4 in 1:27-2. And as they come to the final furlong, Homer Hochstetler has gone from whoa to go now. Go, Brooklet Skeeter, but it's too late. Biz Hanover with a perfect trip takes the lead. It's Biz Hanover to the front. Ranton Raid racing second. Awesome Viking is third. Down to the line, and Biz Hanover is in front. Awesome Viking finishes second. Ranton Raid was third. Ninth race Pacers are on the gate, and here they come. And they're off. Zach Society's the first to show. Along the inside is Puddin' Surprise, and in between horses, Brooklet's Miser. They race around the clubhouse turn, and that is Puddin' Surprise taking the lead. Brooklet's Miser ducks over to the rail, racing in second. Zach Society up on the outside is third around the turn. Tugging hard on the bit, Buggenhouse is racing in fourth. Stephen Robert completes the top five. The Little Hashu is racing in sixth. Mickey D's Express is in seventh. Chief Carey is away in eighth, and Ideal Arrow can see them all. They round the turn, straighten up onto the backstretch, and Zach Society leads the way, but not for long. There goes Buggenhouse to the top. They race the opening quarter in 30 and 1/5, and Buggenhouse makes the lead, crosses over to the rail. Now Little Hashu is coming to take his turn at the top. Zach Society racing in third along the inside, and then Puddin' Surprise races in fourth. There's a gap back to Brooklet's Miser in fifth, followed by Stephen Robert in sixth. Chief Carey moves up on the outside in seventh. Ideal Arrow moves up on the outside in eighth, and trailing in the field is Mickey D's Express. Going to the half-mile marker, and Buggenhouse still there. Little Horseshoe on the outside. They've raced the half in 58-2. Now onto the far turn, and Buggenhouse is the leader. Little Horseshoe on the outside could not make the lead. Along the inside racing, and now in third is Zach Society, followed by Puddin' Surprise racing fourth. Brooklyn's Miser the top five, followed by Stephen Robert in sixth. Ideal Arrows pacing into the action, now racing in seventh. Chief Carey is eighth, and Mickey D's Express trails the field. They're homeward bound, pacing 3/4 on top. That is Buggenhouse, 3/4 and 129-1. On their way home, and Buggenhouse has a solid 2-length lead. Zach Society racing second. On the far outside, Ideal Arrow is coming home fast. It's Ideal Arrow taking the lead in between Zach Society. Puddin' Surprise comes on from in between horses. Now third, Buggenhouse ran out of enthusiasm. It's Puddin' Surprise pacing to the top. Ideal Arrow next. Zach Society races third. Puddin' Surprise is in front. Tenth race pacers are moving in behind the starting gate, and here they come. Post time at Hawthorne for race 10. Pacers on gate. And they're off. Going for the lead is Lake Hills Doc from in between horses out in the country. Up on the outside, that is Eggy, and down at the reel is Strutting On. They race around the clubhouse turn, and up to grab the lead is Out in the Country. On top now, going by is Lake Hills Doc. Lake Hills Doc takes the lead. Out in the Country racing second. Eggy is on the outside, still gaining ground in third. Strutting On's down at the reel, relegated to fourth, followed by Ecotanic in fifth. Be Home Early is sixth. Noteworthy Dude and Little Madge trail the field. They race on to the backstretch. The first quarter was in 29-2. Up on the outside, that is Eggy pacing by to take the lead. Lake Hills Doc races second. Out in the Country is third, followed by Strutting On in fourth. Along the inside is Ecotanic racing in fifth. Noteworthy Dude is on the outside sixth. Be Home Early is seventh. Little Madge trails the field. They are midway up the backstretch, and leading the way is Eggy, and now moving by Lake Hills Doc. Lake Hills Doc reclaims the lead. Eggy back into second, followed by Out in the Country in third. Strutting On's down at the rail racing in fourth. Up on the outside is Noteworthy Dude, now racing into the top five. Following on the outside, Little Madge is in sixth. Ecotanic is shuffled back in seventh, and Be Home Early can see them all as they start around the far turn. Halftime was 58-4, and along the inside, Lake Hills Doc has the lead. Out in the Country is challenging on the outside. Eggy's down at the rail racing in third. To the outside, Noteworthy Dude is coming on fourth. Strutting On completes the top five, followed by Little Madge in sixth. Ecotanic down at the rail is in seventh, and Be Home Early trails the field. They're at the top of the home stretch, and as they make the turn for home, along the inside, Lake Hills Doc has the lead. Out in the Country races second. Noteworthy Dude's coming home fast, now third, into the final eighth of a mile, and leading the way, Lake Hills Doc on the outside. It is Noteworthy Dude coming to him. Noteworthy Dude on the outside. Lake Hills Doc on the inside, and Noteworthy Dude's going to win this one. It's Noteworthy Dude on top. Lake Hills Doc finishes second. Strutting On was third.